Say cheese, vegan cheese, whole food plant-based cheese made without dairy and oil, everybody. Hey there, I'm Chef AJ and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. My guests today have a fabulous new book. Their names are Linda Tyler and Donna Spencer, and they're going to show you and talk about how you can make delicious cheese out of whole plant foods without oil, no dairy, of course. Things like cottage cheese, which I know some people really miss, and goat cheese. Oh, and feta cheese. I can't wait for that one. And they are part of this year's 2025 Vegan Health Bundle that lasts only a few more days, actually, until 10:59 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, March 10th, where for a mere $49, you can get over $5,500 worth of ebooks, courses, exclusive videos, like 18 hours from Dr. McDougall that you've never seen before, but only if you act now. Operators are standing by. Please welcome Linda and Donna. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello, thank
Hi.
you. Hi, thanks for having us.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely. You know, I don't know if you've been watching my shows this week, but a lot of people have been talking about your book. One of the doctors said she made, I think you have like a queso in there, maybe with a Mexican flair of one of the recipes. And the doctor was saying the Indian doctor in India is making your cheese.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is so great. Well, we're really excited to be here. And as you mentioned, our contribution this year is the Plant-Based Cheese Lovers Cookbook. And Linda and I came together many, many months ago and came up with this idea. And what we've curated for everyone in this collection is 12 cheeses. 6 of them are very easy, and another 6 of them are a little bit more complicated and require some fermentation. But the 6 easy ones don't require any cooking, and they come together very easily. So we actually both have prepared a little tray of different cheeses that we would like to share with you. But under the easy section, we have Parmesan, feta, mascarpone, cottage cheese, ricotta cheese, and cream cheese. And then under the little bit more complex, these cheeses maybe need to be cooked or fermented, is the nacho cheese sauce, the sharp cheddar sauce, a goat cheese, which honestly is to die for. The goat cheese is, I think, my favorite. And Linda's going to talk about that in just a little bit. Mild cheddar, smoked Gouda, which is absolutely delicious. And then I think I love the goat cheese, but I think my favorite is the fresh mozzarella. So what I'm thinking Linda and I are going to do right now is just put our cameras down on our tray, on our counters, so that we can actually show you and speak a little bit to each of the cheeses that we have just readily available right now to share with you, just to give you an idea of what they look like. So with that, you can see my screen here. We have fresh mozzarella. These are adorable little mozzarella.
Uh-oh, your sound went away.
Uh-oh.
Donna, your sound went away. Linda, take over. Do something.
Okay, well, she's
Can't hear.
showing fresh mozzarella balls.
Sorry
And
about that. I think I hit a button on my mic. So
okay.
there's the fresh mozzarella balls. Thank you, Linda. And then we have our lovely cottage cheese. And I'm actually going to make this for you in just a second. We have our very special mild cheddar cheese. This is a very soft cheese, but it firms up very nicely and actually shreds beautifully. You'll see a couple of pictures of that shredded on my Instagram. And then feta. Linda and I were so excited to have feta back in our lives again. That is made with tofu. And then the old standard, everyone knows, the Parmesan, made with the cashews and the nutritional yeast. But we've switched up the flavors a little bit to make it a little bit more balanced for what we like. So with that, I'm going to let Linda share what she has on her tray.
Yeah. Ladies, Kathy Wolf said she just downloaded the bundle. Thank you for getting the bundle, Kathy. And I'll have the links for both Linda and Donna in the show notes and chat in just a moment. So if you'd like to buy it from them, and know that you have a year to download it, but we recommend not waiting that long. She wants to know, what is the name of your book in the bundle? And they are alphabetically by author's name, I believe, Kathy.
I think it starts with Donna. It's alphabetized under Donna's name, and then it's called the Plant-Based Cheese Lovers Cookbook.
Thank you.
This is what it looks like. Yeah, so my cheeses, first is the goat cheese, and I'll just hold these close up. The recipe makes 2 logs of goat cheese. One I've put chives on, fresh chives on, so you can coat it with herbs or not. But the goat cheese is basically a base of almonds and then lemon juice, vinegar, and then we use some agar in it, the firming ingredient. So once you let the whole thing ferment and stored and chill for 48 hours, you really get a beautiful sort of crumbly but creamy texture there. So, you know, you can use goat cheese in salads, on sandwiches, and because it's made of almonds, you're getting, you know, a lot of fiber and protein, and we use no oil in that at all. And then my second cheese is cream cheese. This one we make with tofu and cashews, and then a little bit of plant-based yogurt to get that tang. And then we add a little saltiness with miso, but it takes 48 hours to ferment to really sort of develop the flavors together. And then after 48 hours, you have cream cheese again in your life. So you can use that, of course, on sandwiches, toast, bagels, you know, anything you used to use cream cheese with, you can use it here. And then the final one I have here is mascarpone. That's a rich cheese originating in Italy. It's slightly sweet. We use cashews in this, lemon juice, lemon zest, a little bit of maple syrup to give it a little bit of sweetness, tiny bit of white miso for a little umami. So we sort of tweaked our way into a wonderful mascarpone. It's great for, you know, a sweet edge. Like if you have some brownies or some cupcakes and you want a frosting, this is a perfect frosting. Of course, it's famous. Mascarpone is famous as the creamy layer in tiramisu. We did each make some tiramisu with this. We developed a fruit trifle recipe for the cookbook, but you can definitely make your favorite tiramisu with this and stay vegan, and in this case, oil-free as well.
So in addition to the cheeses, we also in our book came up with different chapters on agar, which is the main gelatin that we use to firm up some of the cheeses. We have a section on using the right blender because, as you can imagine, some of these cheeses are using cashews and almonds, so you need a really good blender to do that. We both have experimented with different blenders that we've had in our kitchens. At the time, we tried all kinds of different settings, so we have a chapter on that. We also have a chapter on the plant-based cheese pantry, other items that you need when making these cheeses, like nutritional yeast, potato starch, tapioca starch, things like that. And then finally, we have an FAQ, an extensive, actually, FAQ section, because we went through a lot of versions of the recipes. We learned a lot about gelatins and products that are used in the commercial kitchens that we can bring into our home kitchens. So we have a lot of FAQs there that you can take advantage of, and you don't have to go searching for that information. So we're really hoping that this is a very useful guide for everyone that wants to bring cheese back into their lives. And we certainly have enjoyed creating these recipes for you and riffs off of other recipes and making them available to us once again in the home kitchen. So what we're going to do is Linda's going to show you, she's going to talk about the goat cheese because it's, as she mentioned, it has to ferment, but she's going to talk a little bit about the process of making the goat cheese. And then she's going to show us a recipe for dates that are stuffed with the goat cheese and how we go about making those. And then I'm going to do two recipes. Both are tofu-based. They don't need to be cooked, the feta cheese and the cottage cheese. And I have a couple of dishes already made with those cheeses in them, so I can just talk a little bit about that. And at that point, then we'll just round things up and bring it to a closure, and we'll get going then. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda while I get ready for my first recipe.
Sure. So I want to just talk a little more about the goat cheese. You do have to soak the almonds. And you can do that in boiling water, so you accelerate the process, and then blend them with some vinegar, lemon juice, a few spices, and then you have to cook the agar in a small saucepan so you get some gelatin from that agar. You cook it up for 3 to 5 minutes. And then we actually also found that having chia seeds, a few white chia seeds in there actually contributes to that nice crumbly texture, while the almonds give it the creamy texture. So then you blend again with the agar and the chia seeds, and then you have to bake it just for a little bit to get a little bit of that moisture out. And then you chill it and shape it into the logs. So it's a logical process. Once you do it once, it's like, oh, I see the logic of that. So I consider it easy, but we did take a while to sort of get to the easiest possible process. So, one thing a lot of people who like goat cheese love is stuffed dates for an appetizer or a snack. And now we can do that. So essentially, what we do is just get some pieces of the goat cheese and stuff it into dates. I'm going to just make 4 of these. You can obviously make as many as you want, but it stuffs easily into these dates. And then you can bake them, but we have found it's about the same to microwave them. So I'm just going to microwave these. What that does, of course, is soften up the goat cheese and warm up the dates. And so it's just like, the date appetizer that people who eat dairy goat cheese get to enjoy. So I'm just going to pop these 4 into my microwave for about 30 seconds. That should maybe 45 seconds. And that's because agar, once it gets heated, it starts to then melt. And so you get that warm, melty texture. So agar is really actually quite useful because it does gel up at room temperature, and of course anything colder than that, like in the refrigerator. But then once you warm it up, it melts and becomes soft. So that's one of the ways we get some of those cheesy characteristics. We also use certain kinds of starches like tapioca starch and potato starch. And those also help with some of the stretchy cheeses, if you like stretchy, like mozzarella. But the agar is so critical. A lot of commercial cheeses use coconut oil for the cheeses to solidify. And of course, we wanted to avoid that. And I myself had never cooked with agar before. And that's why we wrote the chapter on agar, so people didn't have to start where I started. And what we recommend for these, which really makes them delicious, they're nice and soft. These dates are really super nice and soft, is some fresh thyme, if you have it. Even dry thyme works fine. I have a tiny little thyme plant in my garden that has a few stalks on it, which I just went out and cut down. And then some roasted chopped walnuts, yum. And then if you want, I don't think it's necessary, but you can, if you wanted to serve it super special to people, you could add, some agave syrup. I'll put that on one of these. I'm using the amber agave syrup. You could also use some maple syrup, and then these taste great also with some black pepper on them. So this is delicious snack. You could even make just 2 and have them as a snack, or serve it as a nice appetizer at a dinner party. So I will partake, Donna, as you start your demos.
Sure. Yeah, those look amazing. I was so excited when we finished this recipe, because the thyme and the roasted walnuts and the little bit of drizzle of the sweetness of the agave really just took it over the top for both of us. And really, it is guest worthy. I mean, your guests will be really impressed if you serve them. They will not believe that it's not dairy. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so while we're getting late. I might just not do the feta cheese. But what I'm going to turn my camera down here, and I'm going to show you the cottage cheese. And so the cottage cheese actually comes together very quickly. There's a couple of things that I do want to mention about it, though. The color of the cottage cheese is going to really depend upon the type and brand of tofu that you're using to make it, and your sour cream. Now, this is a plant-based coconut sour cream. I'm sorry, yogurt. I'm so sorry, yogurt. And I like the Kalina brand. It's a company based here in Austin, and they have a special probiotic that they make with it. I actually wrote to them to ask them what their probiotic was, because I was trying to ensure that I was using the right enzymes to create the tanginess, and they wouldn't give it to me. So it's proprietary, but it's an amazing product. If you can get it in your region, I definitely recommend that. So then I'm cutting this recipe in half. So I have a half a cup of my plant-based yogurt, a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of miso, and a tiny bit of salt just to balance some flavors. And I'm going to mix this together. I'm going to whisk this together. And once it comes together, I want to just break up that miso and get that nice and creamy. And, you know, Linda and I had a long discussion about what do you miss about cottage cheese and how do you like your cottage cheese? Which was funny because I never thought about it. And when we were talking about it and we were tweaking the recipe, she said, well, I like my cottage cheese firm and I like the hard curd. And I said, well, I like the soft curd. So we went back and forth. So this recipe, you can really make your own. Once you get the creamy mixture down, now you can see this is kind of thick. So I'm using some tofu, and this tofu actually is very yellowish. So you just crumble your tofu up and you put it in there. And you break it up as much as you like. And if you want to use, if you like firmer curds, then go ahead and use the firm tofu. But we found that the firm tofu has a stronger tofu flavor. So I like to, and because I like the soft curd, using the medium firm tofu works well for me and what I like and what I remember as cottage cheese tasting. But you do whatever you like. And then at this point, I like mine a little bit creamier. You can see this is pretty stiff. So I'm going to add some water and get that to the consistency that I want it. So you can really just make this your own. And that's really it. I like to let it sit in the refrigerator for a day to let the fermentation from the yogurt make it a little bit more tangy. And then we pretty much have it right there. So I'm just going to put this into a smaller bowl so you can see. And we were very excited when when this came. So what we did was we thought about, well, what do we want to make with our cottage cheese? And I think it was around Thanksgiving time that we were developing this recipe. So we came up with a pumpkin pie spice pudding. And we have it under one of our categories for light bites. So here we have our pudding, and I'm going to grab a spoon so you can see how thick it is. This recipe, I'm trying to think of what page it's on, is on page 38 of our book. And you can see
there's a question from Gina. Where's my camera? Hi.
Hey.
There's a question from Gina. If we can't have nuts, can we use beans or tofu? And don't worry about rushing because the next guest, Julia, doesn't mind if she logs on a little bit late. So please don't rush your presentation.
It's we have not tried beans in all these recipes as a substitute for nuts. You know, nuts have more natural fat than beans do, so there's a lot of textural considerations there. If the person is allergic to all nuts, there are still a few, there are a couple, I think of, yeah, there's several recipes that they can make that don't have nuts in them.
Thank you.
Donna, do you want to show the feta too then? Oh, did we lose Donna again?
Oh my goodness.
Lost her again. Well,
You talk then.
do you mind if I talk about some of the things I
No,
found
please,
in the bundle
'cause
myself?
somebody's got to talk.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things I love is that when I get the bundle contents, I, you know, go in and highlight and circle, and there's just so much I want to try. So there were a few things I've tried already, which have been super good. One, I sprouted chickpeas. I had never sprouted chickpeas before. I know that's how raw plant-based folks get a lot of their protein is to sprout legumes. So that was fun. That was sort of a 4-day process that I hadn't done before. I also, in Chef Julia Dunaway's cookie book, I learned you could use puffed rice cereal in cookies and bake them. And I even froze them and got them out, and they still tasted good. So I liked that as a possibility to use more puffed rice, brown rice in my recipes. And just so many other things to try, like Amy Dean in her weight loss book, she made nice cream, but secretly added some frozen cauliflower and some chickpeas into the nice cream, and you can't even taste them. And of course, that lowers the calorie density of nice cream. And so there's just, you know, 101 great ideas, even in the cooking realm, even in the plant-based cooking realm, which I'd like to think I know pretty well. There's always something new to learn. And then, of course, there's all these wonderful video courses on nutrition and on sleep, on blood pressure, just all sorts of wonderful things that I think can be super helpful. But I do think it's an opportunity to find things to grow with and to change up your routine. And that's what I love about it.
Thanks. Donna, are you back?
Nope.
I wonder why she can't be heard. It's just a shame.
No, Donna, I don't know, Donna, see if there's a button you can push.
I just pressed it. I didn't realize that. Yeah. But yeah, to your point, Linda, that's exactly it. There's so many opportunities to learn so many new things, and we're really excited to have been a part of the bundle this year. We've created a lot of different recipes using the cheeses. I've got here a burrito that we use the mild cheddar cheese in, and just lots of new salads that we can bring back into our lives using these cheeses. I was going to make the feta, but we're a little long on time.
I said it's okay.
okay.
You can go ahead. She said she doesn't mind waiting.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard me. So go ahead. Please don't rush your
Let
presentation.
me just real quick go to my overhead camera then. And so for the feta, I have a bowl here, and this is a marinating situation. I like to take my baggie, put it in a bowl so that I can get everything in there. And there may seem like there's a lot of ingredients in here, but with the feta cheese, it really was all about layering the flavors here. So I'm going to start with a small clove of garlic, and then you need to put in a probiotic to get that tanginess. So we just bought a probiotic off the shelf, and it comes in these little caps, and I just open up the capsule and plop it in there, and that will do the trick. This is going to sit for a couple of days, so those probiotics can do its magic and make it nice and tangy. I've got some white wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar, some 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We've got some red wine, 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. And then come our spices. We've got some oregano, Dijon mustard, white pepper, onion granules or powder, a little bit of salt, and some red pepper flakes. So we're going to put all that in there. And it's really not a lot of each. I think it's like a half a teaspoon to a quarter teaspoon of those. And so it really doesn't take a lot. And then some miso and nutritional yeast. And then once you get all of that in your bag, you can close your bag up and mix it all in, get it all mixed together. Get my finished one over here. And then you just take your feta cheese and you cut it into the sections that you like. Linda likes it crumbled, I like mine cubed. So I basically just cut it into little cubes. And you can see how quickly it goes. It goes really fast. Once you have all of your ingredients laid out, it goes really super fast. And then within a couple of days, you will have your beautiful feta cheese. I like to just cut mine in one slab here. And then, can you see okay? Yeah. Just cut it into chunks. Now I just eyeball it. I try to get even as I can. And then just plop them in that baggie and let it go for a couple, 3 days. And before you know it, you've got this beautiful feta cheese, and you can crumble it and put it in anything that you would use feta cheese for. And you can even
I made it, I tasted it right after I put the tofu into the marinade, and it was just like, this is like all the feta cheeses I've tried before. It just tastes like tofu with a little coating on it. But something happens between 24 and 48 hours, and it transforms the texture of the tofu. It transforms the taste. Everything tastes like feta cheese. It's really incredible. And I love Greek salad with the olives and the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the lettuce. So I have Greek salad back in my life, which is so cool because we cracked the code on this feta.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm so excited to have it back in my life. And for little appetizers, I'll take the cubes and I'll put an olive on top of it and a cherry tomato. And my family doesn't even realize they're not eating feta. It's really surprising to them, and they start laughing. They're like, there she goes again. So it's a great recipe, and I'm really happy that we can share that with you.
Well, you know, I heard from Tammy Kramer that, because see, I'm allergic to soy, but I'm excited that I can get tofu made out of pumpkin seeds or hemp seeds now.
Yeah,
so make those
they're in more and more grocery stores now. There's a fava bean, also a fava bean tofu.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
So that is what we have for you today.
So how did you guys like collaborate? Because you're in 2 totally different states.
Yeah, we are. So I put a message, I posted on our bundle Facebook group. Does anyone want to collaborate on a cookbook? Because I like to work in teams. I don't always want to work all alone in my kitchen. And Donna responded. And so we started some Zoom sessions, and we realized we were quite compatible from a personal and a cooking standpoint. And it just, all the brainstorming started from there. So we do a lot of Zoom sessions and a lot of texts and phone calls, and we've become friends, which is another great benefit of this bundle.
Yeah, it's so collaborative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Nice. That's really cool that you've done this, because Shada and Tammy also did a cheese book, or cheese and crackers book, and they had a similar process.
Yeah. It's great.
It's been great. It's been great.
Well,
I also have a solo contribution to the bundle called Plentiful Fare with Italian Flair. I don't know, last year, if you remember, Chef AJ, I had the same concept in the bundle. This year, I did a volume 2. and I'm planning on doing a volume 3 for next year. So I'm really excited about that. And I had a couple of recipes that I threw into the collector's cookbook. And this is one of them is my mini muffin top sweet potato spice muffins. And these are really good. And there's oil-free, dairy-free, obviously no eggs in it. I whipped these up last night and I freeze them and I eat one a day so that I don't like eat the whole bag at one time. But yeah, so I've got a couple of other things in the bundle too that hoping people will find interesting and enjoy making.
Wow, that looks fabulous. So if you get me your link, I can put it in the show notes as well, because right now I only have Linda's.
Okay, will do.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for this wonderful new cheeses that we can look forward to.
Thanks for having us on.
It's my pleasure. And thanks to all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Give me about 2 or 3 minutes to reset, and I'll have Chef Julia Dunaway making vegan date Snicker bars. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.